This is my first garden from the time that I was a child making a garden with my mother. I've thought about making a garden many times, but I always felt that people wanted to spend thousands of dollars on gardens, and it was a lot more worthwhile to just not put this energy and to just go buy vegetables in the market. But um, I've learned that by taking vegetables and scooping out their seeds, that you could essentially be planting 50 new vegetables every day for $0. Just take the seeds from your vegetables and use them. And when I realized and I felt this pressure to make this garden now, and it was so much work. I wanted to make a beautiful garden that's very, like I said, feeling like it's very worthwhile for all of the energy that you put into it, and to really not have to put an excessive amount of energy into it all the time. So I plotted out the spaces for beauty. The one important thing was to keep the garden attached to the house, because how can you walk out away from the house every day with all of the water? And also, if you want to make dinner every night, you got to walk out to your garden to catch your dinner every night. So it's great to just have your garden just attached to your home. I started a number of beds. This took 3 days and like 8 hours of a day of just very hard work to um, design this, which was to make a walkway around the house. Number one, make a walkway around the house. Second, I can't put any vegetables near the foundation of the house that I would have to uproot these vegetables, like potatoes and carrots. You don't want them here because you would be uprooting this ground near the foundation constantly. So that was another big plan. I decided to use tomatoes. The tomato plants could grow like 6 feet tall. They're very, very bushy. You want to plant them like densely around each other so that they support each other like this. The plants, they support each other. If this lonesome little plant was just sitting here on its own, dangling in the wind, he wouldn't stay very upright without the support of his friends. So we're not going to do one row of tomatoes. We're going to do about 3 rows of tomatoes and just make it like bushes, tomato bushes, and have that all along here. So I raised this bed. Actually took the time to try to make this sort of a raised bed, and I'm waiting to scoop a lot more seeds out of tomatoes and get a lot more tomatoes in the ground. And the shading of those tomatoes are going to help kind of stop all of the sun from directly hitting the house and warming up the house so much all the time, making the house super hot. And hey, buddy, I put here are the beans that I put from another video, black beans and kidney beans, which are doing really well. And by digging this deep into the ground, that's allowing all of the water always to basically just kind of always go right there, which is really needed because the water is bringing all the life and filling up of the vegetables, filling up the plants. And that protects it. It also gives it a little bit of shade, and you can see how these ones clustered really happily in this corner because there's a little bit more shade, the protection of the ground there. So that's a star, and the reason for making the stars was maybe you could make some kind of troll hair design as these vines, because these ones are vines, they're going to come up, and you could secure the points of the star to let them come up. A huge idea of the garden was making the shade. These weeds provide so much shade that the cats lay in there all day. So we wanted to kind of replace the shade, and also we wanted to make all of the food right around the walkways and make the food as close to the house as possible. We have a big beautiful moon here, and the reason for making these kind of designs is so that you don't want to have to weed your plants. I can't work every day and pull all the weeds of the garden and cook dinner and feed other people and everything. It's so much work. So this would allow you to put like 2 or 3 rows really densely packed that would support each other. It would create like a little shade canopy here, and it's a beautiful design. So you're going to see these really pretty, like, you know, accents when all of it comes up. I really wanted to design the garden to be beautiful as like an accent. And number 2 is that not only do I not want to spend a ton of money and a ton of time on gardens, that when I go from my home, I'm not going to pick up my garden and go. Whoever takes this home is going to inherit this, all of this, and I am going to easily be able to recreate my garden. So this is my moon. It's just a raised, I just dug a circle around, and I piled up it all in the center. And I want to do a design on this one. Now, I'm not going to just sit like a bush in the middle of my beautiful moon. I'm going to make like a pretty design where you have like the plants crawling, you know, around. And it would be the beautiful centerpiece for creating a shade. So there's the walkway. You can go one way or another way, and in the middle you're going to have like this like design or centerpiece, and hopefully I can get the growth to come around up over so that you can have shade. So you could actually have shaded walkways. So here is another bed. This is an older bed. This was the first bed that I made for the pinto beans. And it did not grow very big. I had to make it bigger. And then I put some cucumbers in it. So this star is going to maybe be totally filled with cucumbers now. This star is filled with red beans and pinto beans. So that's going to be like another big, beautiful star that can create a canopy. And the points of the star can go any way. They can go over this walkway and over this walkway. In the morning time, the sun always comes up like this. So I know I will have a shaded area here for a good part of the day, right until about the middle of the day. It stays nice and cool here. So you can put something here, and this you can put more deep vegetables because you're not going to disturb the foundation there. This ring here is actually a memorial. Unfortunately, last year, or a couple months ago, my cats were, they got sick and they died. I had to bury them here where the tire is. So this is a memorial. I don't want to disturb the ground, never, where they are. So I thought, what can you put there as like a shield and like to beautify and to know that my little cats are resting in a nice, you know, with a nice little memorial. I put peppers, bell peppers there, the little baby sweet peppers, and I'm going to continue to fill this. So this is going to be like 3 rows, like a big super moon, like a super crescent moon with all of these colored peppers. And then you're going to have the little cat's grave in this centerpiece. And with the peppers will drop to the ground and their seeds will come up the next year as new life. No one's going to pull the pepper plants up from the ground. The grave will not be disturbed. And then I had to, of course, reconstruct this walkway. I lifted a bed here and a bed here. This is meant to be an access point for the house. So I left one bed here. This is going to be all corn, and the reason for that, for doing the corn, is because the corn, it's not very bothersome to everything around it. It's going to create a shade against the house to kind of protect the house from all the sun rays, and it's going to smell so sweet, not like onions at your back door. Corn, sweet corn at the back door. It's very pleasant. So I wanted to put like this big bits of corn here, and in this raised bed here, as you see, I tried to raise the beds there, and I've actually moved all of this dirt to make the walkway. So fortunately, I'm able to get the water around the house, but putting the food near the water is the most important thing. They have to be able to access it. These are something that's been growing here. These are small onion, and I put new onion down. It hasn't come up. Here is corn that was started 3 weeks ago. It's doing really good, and it's going to be its own little ring here, and it's going to create a lot of shade. It's going to kind of protect the visual line to the sight line to the house. And lastly, I wanted to cover the window areas with plants that would help bring shade, because the sun is so intense and has a huge effect. The plants help protect so much. These are pinto beans that I had planted. You can see that it's in gravel, and despite that, all of this green is here. There's no problem with them growing on a very rocky soil. It's not bothered by that. And when I show you the last patch, that's very much growing, and it's in a very gravelly. And these are beans here too, so that would create a great window cover.